In this week's episode, we're going to take a look at Microsoft Defender for Cloud. How does it work? What does it do? And ultimately, can I do this in 20 minutes? Let's take a look. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Andy Malone, Microsoft MVP. This time around I thought I'd take a look at Microsoft Defender for Cloud. So if you're using Azure, this used to be known as the Azure Security Portal. I just want to go through just a nice quick demo, what it is, how it works, and an overview of really what it can do for you. Now, if you've not subscribed before, then we'd love to have you on board, especially if this is your first time. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and you won't miss out on the good stuff in the future. And comments, questions, get them down below. We love that here. So I think without any further ado, we take a look at this week's demo. So let's jump in. So in this demo, we're going to take a look at Defender for Cloud in Microsoft Azure. So I'm going to come over here into my portal and I'm going to go into Microsoft Defender for Cloud. And let's have a look at what we can see. First of all, we have got our main portal, and this gives me a really nice overview of my security posture. Now, one of the things that Microsoft is keen to reiterate is that Microsoft Azure is now a multi-cloud solution. So as you can see, if you are using AWS or Google Cloud, then you can extend the capabilities of Azure, certainly the security diagnostics, to analyze those clouds as well. I can scroll down, you can see at a glance how you're doing in terms of, let's say, regulatory compliance. And do remember that Microsoft 365, Microsoft Azure are examples of a shared responsibility model. So Microsoft do their bit, but of course, you also need to do your bit as well. So let's take a look at what we can see. So if I come into Get Started here, you can see it just gives me a little bit of information about the products. So the fact that I can do a cloud security posture management, I can do workload protection for example, virtual machines, and you can also got advanced threat protection for things like platform as a service. It also combines with tools like Secure Score. So I can come into Secure Score here and you can see that we have an overall score of 45%. Other than that, it then makes some recommendations to us. And you can see, obviously, enabling MFA. This is just a demo account here. But you can see that in some of the cases, I've progressed quite well. All right. So things like apply system updates, you can see at the moment I've not assigned this to anyone. And there are some updates that definitely do need to go out. So I got things like log analytics, also a system update here, and you can see system updates should be installed on a virtual machine. So you can make exemptions for this. You can assign an owner to this particular job. You can also say, hey, this recommendation was actually quite useful as well. You can change the owner and obviously put some information in here. Why do you want to, why did you think it was useful and things like that. Now, if I just gonna quickly scroll back here. So one of the things that you probably want to do is you probably want to then go ahead and actually install that update. So any updates, it will then say, hey, yep, I want to go ahead. You can assign an owner and you can trigger a logic app. So a logic app, of course, is a flow. So if something happens, then go ahead and do that. You can also make exemptions for certain things as well. So, for example, if it was an update and for one reason or another you didn't want to update something, then you could do that. But this is really nice. It just shows you the status. Again, it shows me whether the machine is on or off. And again, I can then manage that particular update, and it will of course improve my score. So you can view secure score recommendations, and you can also view all the recommendations, and you can see that it also gives the recommendations certainly as priority, and you can see it gives you a status as well. So that's the recommendations. Really useful, very, very powerful feature. Now, you can also download this if you want to. You can download a CSV file, and you can then open it up in Excel and so on. And you can also query it with a KQL or custom query language query as well. Fairly new now, we also have the new governance report. So the governance report, again, you choose your subscription, so whatever subscription that you're using. So I'm using just all subscriptions here. And again, I can then say, hey, I want to go and open a particular workbook, and there are a number of different reports here that you can run. So for example, if I wanted to, let's say, for example, run a vulnerability assessment, I can then say, yeah, I want to run this on a particular subscription. Again, here you can see at the moment there's no vulnerabilities. This is just demo data. So you can see if there are any virtual machines, if you've got any storage containers, any SQL databases that need done, you'll see that information there as well. The other thing that you've got, of course, you've got security alerts. So security, any kind of issues with apps or devices or virtual machines or something like that, you can see that it will generate a security alert. Now, if you're using tools like Sentinel and Defender for Endpoint and various other Defender products, remember that the alerts and the logs also fully integrate with those. So I can open up an alert here. You can see the severity of the alert. So in this case, communication with suspicious domain identified by threat intelligence. So there's something not quite right here. I can go in, I can view the full details of this alert, and you can see what resources that this alert is related to. Okay, so again, I can scroll down, and initially you can see here, this is the MITRE attack. So of course, hackers will use a certain approach. Initially, they'll do reconnaissance. Once they've got reconnaissance, they will then attempt initial access. So it's showing you that this particular security alert is quite far on here. So what we can now do is we can now say, hey, okay, I want to go ahead, I want to take action against this. And what it does is it tells me some recommendations on how to mitigate the threat. So these are the things that we can do. And you can see it's obviously contact the owner, contact the machine owner, probably make sure that you've got things like multi-factor authentication switched on here and so on. Obviously, you want to prevent future attacks here. So again, it makes some recommendations. So things like installing endpoint protection, make sure the virtual machines, make sure that you've encrypted data. So it makes some really good recommendations. Now, you can also create an automated response using logic. And again, by creating flows, if this type attack comes up again, then you can create an automated response here. You can also create email notification settings. So in here, let's say, for example, you've got a security team who deals with this. So any alerts like this, it will automatically get sent to the security team there. So that's essentially how we deal with the alerts. Really, really useful. Okay. Inventory will give you a complete inventory of all of your resources, but it's more than that. It shows you where you are from a security status perspective. So it will show me that, again, a particular virtual machine, whether it's being monitored, you can install a monitoring agent on a particular virtual machine, and that's really useful. Because if it's monitored, you can then check, is the machine been updated? Does it need patched? And so on. We also have something called Cloud Security Explorer. So this is a new feature which is currently in preview at Microsoft. It allows you to grant graph-based queries. So if you've got developers in your environment, you can use Microsoft Graph and the Security Graph to create your own custom queries. Workbooks, you can see here there are a number of workbooks which contain kind of pre-configured solutions. We also have access to the community here. So here, for example, this is all the community-driven material. So you have got access to blog posts, things like the Microsoft Tech community. You can post questions, ask, and so on. You've also got a number of common problems. So if there are any kind of common issues, not just that you've got with security alerts and things like that, but also other features of Microsoft Azure as well. I love the cloud security section here because this gives me an overall perspective on my security posture. So you can see it integrates with the other technologies such as Secure Score. So I can go in to the various subscriptions here, for example, and you can see that at the moment I've got a Secure Score of 45%. Now, obviously, I want to improve on that. It does make a number of recommendations, as I showed you earlier. And if you follow through on those recommendations, it can really help improve your score. Now, ultimately, of course, you want to make it a workable Secure Score, if possible. Compliance is very important, and in Microsoft 365, of course, we have Purview. So Purview is the compliance set of products here. Now, based on what we have here, you can see that at the moment we've got cloud security benchmark here. We've got the payment card industry, SOC, and also ISO 27001 that we're working towards. So you can see that we have a number of different controls in place. And again, I can expand on these, and you can see that anything in green shows me that, hey, look, I've completed it. It's looking pretty good. Things are good. However, there are some areas of red that, of course, still need a little bit of work on. So it shows me here that I've still got a number of tasks that I need to do. So things like storage accounts should use a private link connection. Storage accounts should restrict network access using network rules and things like that. So it tells you what the control is, and again I can now click onto that and it will now guide me through the step-by-step guides on how to fix that potential problem. So I really like this whole compliance area here. We also have something called workload protections. So again, here it gives you a nice kind of overview, and it shows you the overall coverage of your Defender for Cloud subscription. At a glance, you can see things like, are there any, how many vulnerability assessments are going on, virtual machines in terms of apps, DNS service, is everything running okay? Are there any potential problems? So again, you can see that there's some moderate security things. And again, that's like before, that's also generating alerts. I can then go into the alert and follow up on that as I did a few moments ago. Other things that we've got, you've got Firewall Manager here. I love Firewall Managers. So again, if you're using virtual machines, if you're configuring virtual networks, then again, at a glance, you can view your overall firewall security. And again, you can drill into any of these areas and find out more details on that and ultimately how you can improve them. So again, I can go into my virtual networks here. You can see your virtual network, and again, it's showing me that on this particular VNet, there's no firewall deployed on this network. So again, very important that you should be aware that attacks can come in on virtual networks just like physical networks, okay? So again, at a glance, it's great to see, yeah, this particular network is protected, everything's looking good, and so on. Now, of course, firewalls have rules. We call them policies, and you can see here, I've got a firewall policy here. So I can click into this policy, and you can see here that I have lots of information on this. So, of course, everything generates an activity log. In this case, I'm just using some demo data here. Again, it will also, you've got various network rules. You can also configure application rules. So for example, if you're using a specific application and it needs to open a particular port, then you can do that. You can, obviously, it will inquire things like DNS. So if you've got a DNS security policy in there, threat intelligence, I love, because threat intelligence will give you a nice overview of kind of what the latest potential threats are, and do you want to block or allow anything. TLS or SSL, transport layer security, or secure sockets layer, of course. You can inspect your digital certificates, make sure that they're valid, make sure that they're up to date, and so on. So the Firewall Manager is a really, really nice tool. We also have other cool things in here. So currently in preview, you've got DevOps security. So many large organizations have developers within the organization, and again, working with a security team to make sure that, for example, if you add a connector to your particular project, that it's going to work and you work together. So this whole area is for DevOps security. Now, depending on your license, folks, you may have some, all, or none of these features. Again, depending on your license. The other thing that we've got in here, you've got various things like environmental settings here. So again, at the moment, I've just got one tenant that I'm working with. But again, if you're working with Amazon, Google, GitHub, if you're using DevOps, you can add in those different kind of environments in. Okay. One of the things I really like about Azure is the fact it doesn't just look at its own offerings. You can also use, for example, non-Azure based technologies as well. So there are a number of different security solutions that you can use from third-party vendors as well, which is awesome. Now, as I mentioned, workflows are the key to good security. So in here, you can create your own automation. So for example, in Microsoft 365, we call this Power Automate. Here, we just call these automations here, and you can create these, what we call a trigger. So essentially, if something happens, then I want you to do this. So for example, if an alert pops up, then go ahead and inform, let's say, the security team. All right, so that's how you can go through that. Now, I just wanted to mention a fantastic resource for learning. So Microsoft Learn has just gone through a major revamp. Okay, a major revamp. So if you want to learn, for example, this week I'm teaching the new cybersecurity class. So if I'm teaching SC 100, check it out. You can now go in here and you've got access to the full course. So this is the full course. So I can go in, have a look at Zero Trust, and this is all the documentation about the course. This is such a fantastic resource. Now, the other thing that you can also do here, of course, is you can also take exams as well. So you can schedule certifications, and in terms of finding out more information, You've also got docs.microsoft.com, which is the complete document repository of Microsoft. So everything is now in this one single hub, okay, which is absolutely fantastic. All right, so there you have it, just a very quick overview of Defender for Cloud and some of its capabilities. So there you have it, a quick overview of Defender for Cloud, which is part of Microsoft Azure. Hope you enjoyed it. Comments, questions, get them down below. And if you've not subscribed, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and come and join this great community. Okay, until next time, I'm Andy Malone. I'll see you soon. Hey, thanks so much for dropping by today. Here's a couple of videos that you may enjoy, and while you're here, go ahead, click on the subscribe button and you won't miss out.